Let's see. Past mandatory motivational poster decor in all EEA offices. Check. Past EEA procedural policy 8479B, Article 47, subsection 56J. The acting chancellor is required to open all official sessions dressed in a chicken suit, performing the chicken dance. Check. And ordered the installation of skylights in the official meeting hall.
Oh God! Natural light!
Check. Oh, hi there. Don't mind me, just following up from last episode. When we last left off, Chancellor Daze had closed the School of Friendship. And so, naturally, Twilight is dealing with this the way she usually deals with a big failure, by having a big pity party. Twilight's biggest fears and challenges have been to do with dealing with personal failings. We see her set impossibly high standards for herself to the point of OCD levels of organization and a need to control things, only to have to be corrected or come to the realization that her actions were wrong. However, in this case, Twilight did nothing wrong. She was shut down by someone in apparent authority without sympathy or understanding. This is especially hard for her when usually she has received guidance or support to help her understand her mistakes and how to correct them. But this is a case where the authority was wrong, but placed the blame on her anyway, so she struggles to figure out what she did wrong and can't find an answer because it's not there. Enter Starlight Glimmer for a reality check.
Every pony's already tried to cheer me up. It won't work.
Oh, I'm not gonna cheer you up. I'm gonna tell you what you did wrong.
What?
She tells Twilight to just make her own rules, because friendship is her area of authority. As I stated in my last episode, Daze is overstepping his bounds, so I'm with Starlight on this. Going over his head is what Twilight should have done right away. Either way, that gets Twilight out of her funk and back in the game, and more importantly, out of her rule-lawyering mindset, as she realizes how she's been treating her friends.
I owe you all an apology. I was so focused on doing things the EEA way, I didn't listen to any of you. I'm sorry. I promise this time, we'll run the school like friends should.
So everyone makes up and the school is set to go. Except...
Just two small problems. The school is still unaccredited.
Way to push buttons, Spike.
And we don't have any students.
I'll take care of the first part. If you five can round up our class.
Totally!
And off they go to gather all the students. Which of course means trying to gather the foreign students as well. Unfortunately, the kids have decided that their friendship is something they want to keep. So... Remember what I said about Daze sparking an international incident?
It's our pony's fault!
The students left us notes before they disappeared. The students couldn't have done this by themselves. Some creature is hiding them. If the niece of our queen is not found soon, I promise there will be retribution.
Yeah? Well, my dragons will burn every kingdom until we find which of you is hiding Smolder!
Yes, fight griffins and dragons!
The Changeling Empire can't afford an international incident. If any creature blames the Changelings for this...
What are you up to, shapeshifter?
But we're friends.
Hope you're happy now, Chancellor. Honestly though, I am disappointed in Sea Spray and Ember. Yes, the hippogriffs are technically the new species on the block here, but Sea Spray is really quick to accuse the students of being incapable of running off on their own and blaming others for it. I mean, Sea Spray is supposed to be in charge of the Hippogriff Navy, so I would think he would have more restraint than that before accusing without evidence. Ember, on the other hand, formed a bond with Thorax, but she quickly turned to him despite knowing him better, so it's sad to see that their friendship has suffered because of this. But plot-induced tension aside, the main six now have to find the students to prevent a all-out world war. And what better way to do that? Why, with fancy charts, of course.
Smolder, Ocellus, Silverstream, Yona, and Gallus disappeared together. That's all we know.
They're probably just off hiding somewhere.
A simple, down-to-earth explanation that should have been obvious. Looking at you, Sea Spray.
Unless they use some kind of spell to disappear.
Except none of them are spellcasters. You're slipping, Starlight.
Ooh, or went undercover!
Technically still counts as hiding, but the only person who could really pull off a disguise convincingly is Ocellus.
Maybe they were attacked by a ferocious shrimp! Nobody ever expects that!
It's Pinkie Pie. Don't question it. And then Sambar conveniently walks in with a huge cupcake order, sees the chart, and acts suspicious.
Hi, Sambar! Are you having a party?
No, I'm just, really hungry.
We need to think like our students. If someone told us we would never see each other again, what would we do? Go someplace we could all hang out and eat lots and lots of cupcakes!
Light bulb.
Cut to the rest of the students hanging out at the castle of the Two Sisters in the oh-so-scary Everfree Forest. Honestly, I think at this point the only reason it was scary to begin with was the Crow lived there, because we have seen much more dangerous places within travel distance that pose more threat than this. Anyway, the students have continued bonding, showing off their quirks and personalities, so we get more insight into their characters. Ocellus is the bookworm, Gallus is a nice guy who puts on a tough guy mask, and Silverstream shows her exuberance is due to experiencing the world for the first time since she lives underwater. Smolder seems to be more friendly playful for a dragon, ready to start a pillow fight, and Yuna shows she is much more embracing of other cultures than the typical yak stereotype would have us believe. Out of the students, I think I relate with Ocellus the most. And no, that's not because I'm a changeling. Ocellus was shy when confronted with a new group, but once she impressed someone with her talents, she latched onto it, embraced it, and opened up. Growing up, that was a lot like me. I had a hard time relating to others and getting involved, though I must admit I still have that issue, holding back from approaching others. But when I feel like I've impressed someone, I get drawn in and open up and want to continue to do so. The downside to this is that I get excited and that can result in me going overboard, and so does Ocellus apparently, if you recall the giant monster she turned into. But as a whole, the students remind me of the friends I had. Whenever I did open up to people, I would get involved in D&D groups and people who shared my interests, and I just loved being around them. It just made me feel like I belong. It's nice to see that kind of replicated in the show. But the students' fun is cut short by another random unseen creature that apparently lives in the forest. Wait a minute. Rolls into a ball. Sharp teeth, shoots spines from their back. Oh my gosh, they're critters! Everyone run! Run! Run for your lives!
Am I the only one who didn't sleep through Professor Fluttershy's Critters of Comfort and Conflict class? It's a puckwudgie. Maybe I can make friends with it.
It doesn't work out, and the students are cornered, when suddenly, unexpectedly... Who am I kidding? We all knew this was coming. The main six swoop in and save the day. After sufficiently impressing the students, they invite them back to the school with the promise that this time it will be different.
It's pretty clear you've already started learning friendship without your teachers, but we'd like to show you even more. If you'd come back to school?
Not much of a choice.
To be honest, we felt exactly the same way when Twilight told us she was reopening the school.
But this time, we guarantee it shall be different.
Oh yeah! With class run my way, it'll be 220% cooler!
And without the EEA, it'll be much friendlier. Plus, all your nations won't go to war if you come back with us! Bonus!
Wait, what's happening?
It's funny because kids don't realize the consequences of their actions. So we found out they sent a letter ahead to inform Celestia of the situation, and they all meet at the school. The students tell their sponsors they won't be leaving the school, which Twilight promptly reopens, breaking the seal and summoning Sir Stick-Up-His Flank.
Who dared remove my seal?
I did, Chancellor Naysay, and I respectfully ask you to step aside, or classes will start late.
classes won't start at all. The EEA has spoken, and none shall pass.
I'm sorry, you ain't Gandalf, and you are talking to royalty, for Celestia's sake. She is right there, and you are threatening her.
This is for the greater good. The school was disorganized, the teachers unqualified.
You didn't examine the school, you met one teacher and never did any interviews, period. Color me not impressed.
And those dangerous and unpredictable students put ponies' lives in danger.
Yay, more speciesism, way to protect Equestria by insulting people who can make war with you to their faces.
Hold on, please.
Finally, Celestia, put this guy in his place!
I'm sure Princess Twilight Sparkle has a good explanation for all of this.
Oh, or just pass it off to Twilight. Seriously, Celestia, assert your authority here. Naysay is damaging your relationship with foreign nations, and you are letting him do it right in front of you. There is a time for reason and a time for action. Both should be saying right now that Naysay is wrong, overstepping his bounds and putting your country in danger, and he needs to issue an apology at the very least, and his authority stripped from him at the most. But no, it's more important Twilight verbally spar with the bigot.
It's true that my School of Friendship is EEA unaccredited.
Then it is not a school.
It's not an EEA school. It's a friendship school. With its own rules. I should know. I wrote the book.
Honestly, she shouldn't need to, because Naysay's issues don't have anything to do with learning at all. But on the bright side, opening the school without EEA approval may set a standard that gets other schools in Equestria out from under the EEA's thumb. It's like the episode Spice It Up. A stamp of approval doesn't necessarily make something good, and from what we see, the EEA is abusing its authority and overstepping their bounds. So their approval no longer holds its value since they fail to hold themselves to a higher standard of behavior. Celestia slips into passive-aggressive, and Naysay finally goes to hell, returns to the EEA, and everyone celebrates. In song form!
This brand new School of Friendship is home to everyone. We're learning how to trust.
We're here to all have fun.
The way I feel about the rephrase of the song is a lot like how I felt about the first. It's upbeat and I like it, but it's not the greatest song that I've heard. But I do like that it shows off the new classrooms and how they've been remodeled to represent each of the teachers. We also get to see the students having fun together and coming together in a circle of acceptance of all the other creatures. And finally, the sponsors say that the students can all stay at the school. Except Grandpa Gruff.
You belong at home. You think I care if you've made friends? Please, Grandpa Gruff.
Oh, he's so adorable, he's just like Gabby. And everything gets wrapped up. So that was part 2 of School Days. It's different from a lot of these Season 2-parters in that there isn't a world-threatening situation. Well, until the award declaration. But aside from that, we got to see a natural friendship develop with new species joining the reoccurring cast. I am critical of the lack of consequences for Naysay clearly overstepping his authority. He's not an invading force like Samba, Chrysalis, or Nightmare Moon. He's still a subject under Celestia's rule, but he gets away with speaking down not only to another princess, but visiting dignitaries she invited. Even if it worked out in the end, she basically showed everyone she's unwilling to step in and correct someone acting out of line, not even passively. That reflects poorly on her, especially when she has been much more vocal with Twilight for her mistakes. I understand that Naysay is supposed to be the seasoned antagonist here, but we need a reason why he can get away with this, other than he runs schools. If he is a rule lawyer, use that. Have him bring up some obscure law or rule. This didn't make Celestia look great as a ruler. But enough of my nitpicking. What I like most is the Student 6, who honestly steal the show from the main 6. I'm not saying that they're necessarily better, but the Student 6 introduce far more potential than the main 6 at this point. While the main 6 have major personality difference, goals, etc. that make them interesting, they're still part of the same culture. The Student Six are not only different species, but they come from essentially entirely different worlds from one another that none of the others have experienced, nor us for that matter. It opens the door for world building and scenarios the main six honestly can't easily pull off. And it helps that the students all have their own unique personalities and abilities that set them apart even further from the main six. Honestly, I just look forward to seeing where this goes from here on. So while I may complain a bit about this and that, I think this was a pretty strong opening for the new season. So I would say that my impressions are mostly positive. I do hope that you enjoyed the review. If you did, leave a comment below. And this is Carapace the Changeling, signing out.